So the other day I was thinking about that whole idea of being a jack of all trades, master of none kind of a thing, where it's like, I feel like I know lots of random things about a variety of things, but like there's not been any one thing that I really knew a whole lot about. And I was thinking about that, and it's like, that's not entirely accurate because, I've lived in this whole, in the toxic family system my entire life and been incredibly affected by everything that has come out of that arrangement on all levels. And after I was kind of thinking through that, then my brother and I started joking about who's the bigger disappointment, and we definitely go back and forth. Especially because we're both the ones having to, do healing work to get beyond that stuff, because we don't want to just perpetuate the cycles that have been going on for what seems like forever. So, yeah. Yesterday's videos, I talked about that a bunch. And then after the first video, I was really leaning toward renaming my channel, and I have done that. So, the family disappointment. Because it's pretty on track, and I feel like that's the majority of what I've talked about on here anyway, is the healing that I've had to be doing because of the family bullshit. And yes. And it's funny because there is a whole lot. Okay, I keep getting the messages that consider yourself divinely placed, and what you're going through is exactly necessary to get you to the next level that you're trying to get to, right? So, thinking about where I started last year when I was a freaking hot mess crying every 30 seconds because, the one video where I got to deal with, vent on the, having been called a dumb bitch by my father, like, right before I did anything that day. It's like, well, that fucking sucks. And when I started, I was not aware of the need for really having boundaries. I didn't really understand, I guess, how swayed by the toxic stuff I was, and how easy it was to fall back into those patterns until until the twin flame thing, and I started realizing that I needed boundaries if I was going to figure anything out on that end. Right, so the boundaries became a big thing. And I kept having like things with tigers pop up for a while. And the two cards in the Animal Apothecary deck that come out frequently, even still. One was a tiger, and it says claim your power. And it's just a face shot of the tiger. And the other one is Sacred Boundaries, and talks about how Tiger doesn't even entertain the possibility of having the low vibe things in her presence because she knows that nothing good can come of it, kind of a thing. It's like, yeah, that's obviously something I need to work on, right? So, before I got to that point where that was really getting driven home, we went to the zoo last year, and I mentioned that it was kind of a weird experience because it's like there was this whole level of things going on, and in that space I was connected to my twin flames energy, even though nobody else was aware of it. It's like it was right there with me the entire day, and it was really weird. But then when we went over to the tigers, I got this amazing shot of one just staring right at me, and I got an 8x10 of it on my wall. And the other day, the zoo sent me a newsletter where they were requesting photos from members that, you know, they take from your visits at the zoo. And I submitted those because they were pretty, well, that one and, you know, my elephant shots at the top of the YouTube page. And another one of one of the bears that I took. And that I was like super proud of all of them and got little individual prints of them to keep in my space. The elephant and the tiger got a 8x10. But it's like that whole thing with the tiger seemed like there was a whole message right there, and then like these other cards kept coming up. So it's like, I think there's something to that. And then I started going to those classes, and the first thing Lanita said was, you know, she checks in with your guides for new students and to see what you needed to work on. And the big thing that came up for me was boundaries, grounding myself, shielding my energy, all that fun stuff. So it's been a whole project in and of itself. And I definitely do that as much as I can remember now. Oh, I don't need you in my lap. Hi. Hi. Yes, I love you so much. Too much. Too much. Too much love. Yeah. Dog germs. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Stop. Stop. What's going to happen is if I don't use my headphones to listen to this video, they're going to start barking when they start barking when I'm listening to it later. Shut up. That's enough. No. No. Anyway, so boundaries. Yes, that's been the big thing. And I've been learning all the ways I can do that, and I need to make sure I change my shoes before I go up to the hospital and do my daughterly duties, cooperating with my mother. Yeah. It continues, no worries, it will never end. Well, it will never end while I'm stuck in this situation. I'm breaking the toxic connections right and left, or, you know, saying the things that make me look like an asshole because everybody else doesn't understand where that could possibly come from. You know, what's the thing about the only ones that have a problem with you setting boundaries are the ones, the gaslighters and manipulators and the types that benefited you from you having none? And that's my family. So yeah. This morning, going right along with that, there's the whole thing. I renamed my channel. I updated my information, all that fun stuff. Told my brother what was going on. This morning, I woke up at 6:15, and I went ahead and went over to his house to potty his dogs after I fed mine their breakfast. And there was a series of events there too. Okay. I got in the car to go over there. I parked in the garage because Mom's not home. I'm parking in the garage so I can park the crappy car in the garage so it's closer to the house and warmer when I need to go leave in the middle of the night to go potty their dogs or the early morning hours. So yeah, I did that. I get part of the way over and a Twin Flame song comes on the radio. And I was all excited, but I was really close to my brothers. And at the same time the song came on, I happened to look down at the odometer, and the last two digits were 1.1, and then in the trip mileage, 11 was where that was sitting at. So there's my 1111. So it's like, yep, okay, I see you. So I start going on down to my brother's house. Well, the song came, another song had played before that one came on the radio. But I was all excited because it, you know, found in the wild kind of a thing. So I figured I would pull into my brother's garage and finish listening to the song. No. And then I would go in and potty the dogs and all that. Well, it's really cloudy today. So, yeah, very gray. So when I pulled in the garage, it went to acquiring satellite signal or whatever. It's like, oh, fuck, what'd I do? You know, so I go in the house, and I don't have the song on my Spotify, so I pulled it up and was listening to it there while the dogs were outside. When I go back and get in the car, and no, I'm going home the other way because, you know, today's Monday, so so there's a lot more traffic because there's, you know, people going to work. So I went the north way, which puts me at the roundabout to get onto this road rather than going to the way I went that way to their house on the way over, because this road sucks when it's busy and, you know, morning hours especially. So it's like, okay, so I'll just go to the roundabout and come back. When I crossed the road, the next song that came on was another one connected to that whole thing. And as I was going across the, God, I just looked up at 11:11. This is this is my stuff going on now. Okay, anyway, when I looked at the odometer going across the main road that they live off of, or that their neighborhood's off of, there was 71.7 on the odometer, which that's the twin flame number, and I think it has to do with 7 is divine perfection and 1s are new beginnings. So I think that's why that's the big reasoning behind that one. But it was right there in front of me again with this other song on the radio that I had time to listen to all the way before I got home. Actually, I think I wrapped it up in the garage, but it did stay playing. No, I do not want to play. Come here. No, no, get back over here. Come here. Like, we didn't just walk. Come on. Yeah, but that was kind of fun. Going along with that, I stopped to tell my cousin and make sure I wouldn't forget any of this stuff before I wrote it down. You know, because we send each other random messages on Instant Messenger, and just whenever we get to them, we respond. So I'm telling her about that. I watched these 2 videos by a new page that I started following like yesterday. It just happened to come across my my stuff, and then I was like, okay, why not? And it's like, I don't normally follow those types of pages. Well, I don't know. Just like the way the information's presented seems kind of weird, and it's talking about the chosen ones and all that stuff. But I felt inclined, like I started 3 different videos last night. The second one had something to do with like twin flame stuff as well. But one of the things the guy mentioned in the video was, if you see numbers like 333 and 1111 frequently, and others, you know, other similar ones, but those were the ones he specified. He said that's a sign of divine alignment, which, I mean, I already knew that. That's just one of the things with repeating numbers and mirror numbers and all that stuff. It's communicating something. 3, 4, 5, as I said that. But anyway, I was telling her about this thing that, besides the morning stuff that had happened, you know, right as the guy mentioned that, I did write it down, but when I paused the video, it was at 456. It's like, because of course. And when I sent the message to my cousin, it happened to go through right at 6:54. It's like, okay, clearly something's going on. And I, you know, I even took a screenshot of what time the message went through and sent that to her as well. So, you know, she kind of laughed at me for that. But yeah, it's just kind of nonstop. But it was funny because a lot of the stuff came up the more I embraced the idea of being the family disappointment and making all these changes to my channel to kind of go along with with that whole thing. So Anyway, I get back home, and it's a little before 7, and I wasn't quite ready to be up yet, so I dozed again. I played some music so I wouldn't go completely asleep, but still dozed off. At 8:51, I get a message from my mother saying, "Can you come with Grandma to the hospital?" Can I go with Grandma to the hospital? Not can I take her or whatever. Can I go with her? I wasn't ready to deal with it, so I, when I looked at it at like 9:15, it's just like, whatever. And I rolled back over and dozed back off. When I woke up again, it was like 10:25, and oh my gosh, I had another message from her about, unless you want to cook the sloppy joes, you might as well put the other hamburger meat in the fridge so it doesn't go bad. And there was some other stuff that I put up too, because she got groceries when she was planning on staying at home, but then she had to go back to the hospital. So every time she goes to the hospital after there's a few days where she thinks something's happening and she can come home and go back to the regular, scheduled programming, something happens. And it's been where, like, the first time was the worst, because she'd just gone to the grocery store when he broke his leg, and then there was a bunch of stuff that went bad because nobody was around to use it, and that's a big thing. Powers of manifestation, y'all. She and my grandfather were nonstop. They're very much nonstop, the types of you have to save everything or you will have nothing kind of a thing. And it's like, if you roll through life with the lack mentality, you're gonna see more lack, because that's what you're putting out there that you want, so that's what you're gonna get back. And this has been it's been a very prime example of that in action for me, because they were so obsessed about it, and my aunt kept throwing out that if you guys fall, somebody could break a hip or something, and that's going to cause a lot more issues, So then we got all these things that we accidentally manifested. And, since he's in the hospital, there was the prime opportunity to spend all sorts of money, because, then we were basically living at the hospital and we have to eat something during the day, and it was just nonstop. But it's like, we obviously haven't learned anything about it. We're still doing the same stupid shit. Except for now, it's grocery shopping and then going back to the hospital, because there's that whole thing again. And, Mom keeps putting that stuff out there as well, that she just doesn't know how long he's going to be around. And, it's so urgent that everybody drop everything and go cater to everything he could possibly want, because we have to keep him alive, kind of a thing. It's like, you're not living for you. You're not even living. You're just existing so he can leech off your energy. And I'm confident he would not still be here if it wasn't for the fact that my mom and her sisters and my grandmother have all catered to everything that he's wanted for their entire lives. So they created this monster, and now they're still feeding into it. But now, as he's doing not well, but if you're never grateful for the times that you survived the cancer multiple times over the years, or you aren't grateful for the fact that that anything has worked out, you just expect that it's supposed to, and then when something does, then it's like, yay me, and when it doesn't, then it's somebody else's fault. It's like, that's not how this works. So We're manifesting this shit, whether you like it or not, whether you want to believe it or not. That's what's happening. And, you know, I've been calling attention to that right and left too, because, you know, they, especially with like the money situation, because my mom and my grandpa were so obsessed about watching every penny where it goes, and you have to save, and it's this lack mentality that then along comes this issue that we've manifested, where he's stuck and can do even less than he could do before, and everybody else has to be there to cater to his every whim. So now we're just throwing money away right and left on this other stuff that, you know, like groceries that we end up not using, or you know, getting food at fast food restaurants or whatever. It's like all your lack is putting this right back into there. You're getting more lack because that's all you see. You know, and I've been very mindful of paying attention to how things are going on that end with my family, and it's like, okay, I'm just going to throw out a whole lot of thank yous that everything's always working out, and, you know, whatever, it may look kind of rough at times, but it's going to work out. And, you know, like the universe is not bringing me huge things so far, but every time I've needed something, there's an opportunity shows up to help me with at least that much. Like, okay, the deal with Ziva, and I need to get her in for her shots. So, you know, then my brother and sister-in-law decide to go to Oklahoma. Hey! Man's getting a package. Anyway, hold on. Anyway, but then along comes this opportunity to dog sit for them, and, you know, it should at least cover the part on care credit that is going to be that I need to pay off before I have to start dealing with interest on that card. So, opportunity, you know. And then we had some family friends that are out of town for a while and asked me to go over to their place periodically and check in on stuff. So it's like, opportunities are coming up, and, you know, they might not be big at the moment, but it's teaching me to trust. So that's very helpful. But anyway, yeah, there's that whole ordeal this morning. Well, then I see that I have a message from my father at 9:18 saying, you need to call your mother. And excuse my stomach grumbling again. Another one of those days. Yep, I haven't eaten anything yet. I should probably do that before I go to the hospital, but I want to do this first. So, yeah, I had that message. And then another one from my mom saying, well, I guess, can you bring Grandma? And I don't remember what else she said about it. And she's like, this whole thing is just stupid, you know. And around 9:30, my dogs had started barking because it was amazing outside when I left this morning to go potty the dogs. And so my room gets really hot, so I took the opportunity to open my window and put the fan in the window so I could, you know, so it would feel awesome in my room again. Because otherwise it gets really hot in there when I'm asleep, and I hate that. Excuse my rotten child. No. But yeah, so package for us now, I'm sure. Would you quit? It messes them all up if you just start whistling at them randomly when they want to go bark. And then they just get in your face and bark. But yeah, they were barking because they heard something after I opened the window. Like 9:30. I wasn't ready to get up just then, so I opened my bedroom door so they could leave. And eventually they settled down. Well, then, as I'm dealing with the messages and responding to my mother finally, and sending a screenshot to my brother of the stupidity, you know, even my dad only sends me messages like once every few days, which is fine because I actually have him silenced, so I don't get alerted when I have messages. It just all at once, you know, it stays lit up in the in the text message section. So yeah, because he was sending me stupid shit all the time. So I mean, I didn't block him because I couldn't block him, but I did silence him. And he's not been on silence since, you know, that was back in the spring, I think. Anyway, so I sent screenshots of all this stuff to my brother, and he's just like, oh, great, you know. And I mentioned that my brother had called my grandma to my mom because, you know, she asked me to check on my grandma last night, and I blew her off because, well, I think my dad ended up doing it anyway, because if she says something needs to be done like that in the group conversation, then I'll get, well, are you going to check on her or should I? It's like, well, have fun. Since she put it towards me, but you put yourself in the middle of it, it's now yours. You know, so that was with my dad. So, yeah, so my brother ended up calling her to check in, and I sent my mom a message with that, and my mom was all snarky about, well, something with what grandma had said, and hey, couldn't make the time, blah, 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 whatever. I guess she was basically telling my brother they needed to cancel their trip and get back home because things are so critical, right? Critical for fucking 33 years. Or at least that's been the focus of everything. So yeah. But Ziva, hey, no, we don't need that. No, Peppy, get to the show. Anyway, yeah. Apparently mom got an attitude with me and claimed grandma had an attitude with my brother, and my brother just said it didn't seem like she wanted to talk. He didn't say anything about she was pushing that they needed to come home, but I wouldn't either. Anyway, I mean, I wouldn't yield to that either with this family, because emergencies, everything's always an emergency, and like my brother said in that one message, cry wolf so many times, people stop believing you. And we are beyond not believing any most of what's happening anymore. It's like everything is so pressing, and then we got to feel guilty, and then you just bullshit. And here we are still dealing with the same stuff because it hasn't gotten better. Yeah. So, spider on my hand. Yeah, just it's so over it. But it's kind of funny because I feel like even since November 11th, when I did the video talking about the 1-year anniversary of having done this channel, and how, well, as much as everything's changed within me, you know, it's like the experience I'm in, obviously I'm still having to be stuck at home with my parents for the time being. But it's like, I feel like I'm shifting into like, something that's going to start moving a little faster and gaining momentum. And I'm finally at that point where I've cleared enough of the bullshit and am able to have enough pushback in dealing with family that, you know, I can stand up for myself when, or, you know, say the uncomfortable things that other people think are out of line. Like when my mom and my, her middle sister were basically picking up the bullying role toward my grandmother because my grandfather is partially off duty on that. You know, and then my mom says, when did we become such bullies? And I said, exactly when your father went into the hospital and wasn't around to be the bully as much anymore for that situation, and you felt like you had to, felt like you had to step up and take over for him. So I appreciate the fact that Yep, my channel is probably really terrible for people that have dogs like I do. Because shit, they're mouthy and disruptive. But here we are. Yeah, sorry about that, if that's a problem on your end. I know it's a problem when I rewatch my videos and they can hear themselves barking in the background. But whatever. Anyway, I was gonna do this video over at the school after I walked them, but then then I had to pee, and just like, well, I'm just gonna come home so I can handle that and then go ahead and do the video and then worry about getting over to the hospital later, just to appease the beast. But anyway, yeah. When I made the comment about they stepped up their bullying because he went in the hospital and couldn't do it all himself, I think that actually put me as being less inclined. My aunt pulled in over at my grandma's house, so I don't know what's happening over there, but I'm sure I'll find out soon. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so they weren't going to quit out there, so I gave up on them. But anyway, when I made that comment to my mom and her sister, they actually stopped including me in all the text messages that they had been including me in previously, which, win. But, yeah, when you point out the shit that they're doing, you know, they don't like that. So, yeah. But that's the ongoing thing. I think I am at the point where I'll probably wash this mess again to try to rinse some more of the color out of it, you know, with the shampoo that does that. And then I think I'm at the point that I'm just going to walk away from the fun colors that I've been doing for a while, because at this point, well, I mean, at this point, it's, I don't know when she's coming back home. I don't know if she's going to be back before he dies. I don't know if he's going to die anytime this century. You know, we're just kind of playing it day by day. So, yeah. But I know I am tired of that being a thing that she can use to try to rope me back in on, oh, let's do this bonding thing so I can annoy you about the stuff that you're not feeling bad enough about. You know, and it's like, I had no problem dyeing my hair the, 20 years I was, well, not quite 20, the 15 years I was doing it before when it was regular colors. It's not going to be regular. I'll probably go with like deep reds or maybe deep purples. I'm feeling ruby right now. But, it looks like crap at this point, and I don't know if she's ever going to be done pissing around like she's been doing, so I am tired of it being a thing that she can use to try to manipulate me back into her stuff with, too, so it's just, I think I'm just done with that for a while, and my hair's had enough bleach damage that it could probably stand to heal for a while too. So I'll just worry about that, and go to the less harsh things for a while. Well, less bleach anyway. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead and wrap this up so I can go appease the beast that is at the hospital, whichever one you want to consider that being. Is it my grandfather? Is it my mother? Is it my whole family? Yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. So, yeah. Ben sent me a message this morning. It said, good morning, and I said, you must have knew there was drama happening today, because it's been a few days since we talked, and it's like, uh-oh. It's like, yep, back at it. Yeah, but me and my brother are keeping each other entertained, and I felt like today, today's a good opportunity to get one of these in again. First off, because I'm still pushing to try to get my 100 in before the end of the month, and since nobody's here to get in the way of these dogs' mouths, yeah, try to do it a little more regularly. But yes, is what it is. It isn't pretty, but it is what it is. So I'll go deal with whatever I have to deal with on that end and stop at the CVS. That way it has free money for me to use. I got like $10 free money from CVS, so I use that toward a hair color. They have one that I think I will go with, because I was looking online and it's like, I think that's the one, because I like jewel tones. So we'll roll with that for right now, and then just play it day by day, and you know what happens from there. We'll see. As always, I appreciate you, and until the next time, see ya.